Welcome back. This is Newsday, Monday Newsday, and more on our top story again. Just a short time ago, the Professional Soccer League, the PSL, wrapping up a briefing on Saturday's soccer mayhem at the Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban. Now, over the years, the UK has seen more of its fair share of football violence. Natalie Powell is our correspondent in London. Natalie, good afternoon to you and welcome. It has been a problem in the past. Obviously, one references a tragedy like Hillsborough, but by and large, the conventional wisdom might suggest that it is pretty much under control these days, given very stringent measures that both police and the football clubs themselves have instituted over recent years.
For the most part, I think you're right there. In fact, we know after the sort of 1970s and 1980s, when there was a lot of hooliganism, and of course, as you said, the Hillsborough disaster that wasn't necessarily down to hooliganism but overcrowding, there have been a lot of things put in place in the UK to try to avoid such things as people invading pitches, throwing things onto pitches, etc. And this is all because of legislation that has come in the UK to try to prevent this. So it is actually a criminal offence for anybody to invade a pitch or throw anything onto the pitch. They've also criminalised alcohol consumption in terms of you are not allowed to turn up drunk to a football match. If you are, they don't let you in, but also you could be put in prison for doing that, and you're not allowed to take your own alcohol in. These are all measures to really try to prevent any behaviour that could cause problems on the pitch and certainly during the game. In addition to that, they have also made stadia a lot safer to try to avoid any issues in terms of overcrowding. So in a lot of stadiums, they've introduced measures, things like automatic turnstiles, computerized turnstiles, so that when an area is getting overcrowded, an alarm goes off and that area is then closed and another turnstile rather needs to be used. So a lot of measures taking place in UK stadiums. However, that unruly behaviour does sometimes happen, and in fact here at the West Ham Stadium last month we saw a number of people invading the pitch there. But then what we see in response to that, of course, is an increase in security in the next match, which is exactly what happened here. In fact, the stadium spent an extra R1 million on security measures for that next match to essentially avoid any kind of disruptive behaviour taking place.
Natalie, I'm also assuming that there is better intelligence available these days as well. In other words, fans and particularly potential troublemakers are known by the authorities, and perhaps a closer eye is kept on them, even if it's via social media, for instance.
It certainly is, and in fact in the top two highest leagues, of course, in the UK, it's all seated as well, Jeremy. So that means that that they know the seat numbers that fans are in, and any fans that cause disruption, they can, using CCTV, which is another thing that they've brought into a lot of the stadiums now, of course, using that CCTV, they can work out where that fan was sat and therefore who that was, because they'll be able to tell what ticket number was assigned to that seat. In international football as well, they're able to take away passports and the like. So if anybody is causing trouble, they get their passport confiscated and they're not allowed to travel to international football events. So police very well aware of who the troublemakers are, and therefore very difficult for those troublemakers to cause trouble. But as I've said, it does sometimes happen, but there does seem to be a big crackdown on it happening, so we are seeing it less and less.
And what sort of precautions then are being taken ahead of the Football World Cup in Russia, which is just now a matter of weeks away?
Well, we know that a lot of the same security measures that take place here in the UK are going to be used in Russia. Football hooligans